Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a movie review. Here I am again being disorganized. Tonight we're looking at Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, the extended edition. Now I've already had a little look at the original film in the cinema. So this is a review of the extended version of the film. Now, this is the classic tale of Bram Stoker's Dracula, which was reimagined in Germany and come out as Nosferatu. It stars Lily Rose Depp as Ellen Hunter, Nicholas Hoult as Thomas Hunter, Bill Skarsgård plays Count Orlok. We have the wonderful Ralph Inson playing Dr. Shavers. And of course, we have William Dafoe playing Professor Albin Herbert von Franz, which is a little bit like Dracula's Van Helsing, if you like. There are other characters in the film. There's Anna, played by Emma Corrin, and there's Frederick, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson. And there's a well cast of other sort of people within the film. The film starts off with we see our new couple of Thomas and Ellen being married, and Thomas works at a estate agent, and he's been called to go on a there's a count in another country that wants to buy a property in the town, and he wants to buy a sort of ruined building. So they found the one that's quite close to where Ellen and Thomas live, and he's been told to go off on this journey to get him to sign all the papers and things like that. It's the typical Dracula story, except there's no imagining of Britain or Whitby in this film. It's all based within the sort of in Europe. And he sets off on his journey. His wife Ellen, she's got some sort of ability of seeing things happen, and she knows about all these sort of things that are going, and she doesn't want him to go. She's a very sort of a strange sort of being. Like when he gives her flowers, he's sort of like when he gives her flowers, she sort of complains that they're sort of dead and that sort of thing, and so she's sort of like that. She's that way inclined. Anyway, as the film progresses, he goes off on his trip, and he meets a band of sort of like gypsies in this sort of area, in this small sort of town area around where he's going to visit. And they put him up for a night, and we see them sort of singing and dancing and stuff. And he talks to them about he's going to go to the castle to see the count, and they tell him not to go. And it turns out these gypsies are actually vampire hunters. We've got Jordan Haar, who plays the vampire hunter. And we've got Maria Eon, who plays like the old sort of woman. She's like telling him what's going. She gives him like this cross and stuff like this. But he doesn't understand what's going on. Anyway, he makes his way towards the castle. And a stagecoach arrives and picks him up. And he arrives at the castle, and this is we get our first sort of glimpses of Count Orlok. We don't see a lot of him at this point. We just hear him talking and sort of figure in the distance and stuff like that. The only time we have seen him was at the beginning of the film, where we see him in a shadow format in the curtains when he's talking to Ellen. Anyway, Thomas is sort of like meets the Count, and he's terrified of him because he's this huge being with like this very deep rolling voice. He rolls his R's when he talks. It's amazing. And he then goes and comes under his spell and gets attacked one evening by the Count. He's bitten on the chest, so he's under the Count's power, along with Ellen. Ellen's already under the power of him before they've even met. Years earlier, for some strange reason which is not explained in the book, what we learned that Mia, who is in this film is Ellen, it looks like the Count's wife from the past, sort of like years ago when she was alive. But now she's sort of like it's like a little bit different there in the film. But anyway, like I was saying, Thomas is now under his power. And finally, he managed to escape the castle, and he's found by some nuns who take him on and get him back to health. And while this is going on, Count Orlok is now making his trip on the ship across to Germany. And when he arrives at Germany, he brings with him rats. The plague has killed the crew of the boat, pretty much. He's fed off them on the journey. And he goes to his ruined building that he's brought, like a big mansion, and he's sort of like living there. And then he's pestering Ellen, just like the typical story. But then obviously Thomas comes back, and we meet the Professor Albin, played by William Dafoe, and of course the Doctor, Dr. Sivers, played by Ralph Inson. Now, those two are working with Thomas to try, and because the Professor already knows what it is. He says she's been bitten by Nosferatu, and she's under his spell, and they need to kill him to get rid of the spell. You know the story. So that's the story of the film. That's all I'm going to tell you about the synopsis, because you should already know it. It's probably one of the best horror films ever made. It is an absolute masterpiece. It's incredible. It's an absolute essential watch. It's a 10 out of 10. No, it's 11 out of 10. It's one of the best horror films, in my opinion, ever made. It's an absolute masterpiece. It's extremely well scripted. It's extremely awesomely well played out. The casting is amazing. The costumes and the environments and locations they're spot on. Sorry guys, it's a long film. It's 2 hours 20, the extended edition. The cinema film's about 2 hours 5, so it's about 10 minutes longer. And it plays out really amazingly. The script is, and the acting is absolutely incredible. I absolutely love the acting of the film. This is the first film that I've actually seen Lily Rose Depp in, who's the daughter of Johnny Depp, and she is fantastic in this film. Everyone plays their part so well. Simon McBurney, who plays Herr Knock, he's a bit like your Renfield in the Dracula version. He's fantastic, apart from when he bites the head off a pigeon. Now, that wasn't a real pigeon killed in the film. It looked like it was, but it wasn't. But it was so cool. But he is absolutely brutal in this film. He just sort of like, he bites the necks of the he's in the asylum. He bites the necks of the staff there, and he's sort of like, he is like under the power of Orlok. He's like a servant, calls him his master, just like Renfield does to Dracula. But it is such a well played film, and the person to me that steals this film is William Dafoe. I think he's absolutely fantastic in this film. He is so cool. He plays the role so heartedly, and just sort of like, you're thinking he's like a madman, but he he knows what he's talking about, and eventually what he's saying is right, and he gets on so well with Ellen. He knows what Ellen's going through. He knows that Ellen's got to sacrifice herself if they need to stop this plague and this curse on the town and the people of Orlok. If if she carries on, she will sort of become his queen. It's incredible, guys. It is such a masterpiece. You know I love The Witch, and that is still my favourite Robert Eggers film. This is a close second. Very close. The Witch will always be my heart because I just love it. But this is so close to being as awesome as that. It is one of the greatest horror films ever made. The silent film is incredible. I reviewed that and I gave that a 10 out of 10. I reviewed this and I give this a 10 out of 10. You can't not see this film. It's a slow burn, but it's based on Dracula, which is a slow burn book. It's a character-based story about these poor people that have been cursed by this vampire. This is a European folk horror film, which is the only way I can describe the film. And the vampire is the source of the horror in the film, but it is traditionally a European folk horror. It's based on Europeans' beliefs in the vampires and the gypsies sort of way with the vampires, and it's all set in this gothic cinematic environment, and the coloration is fantastic. When it starts off, it's very blue and black and white. It's very dull and drab, and then when we get to a year later, it's in color, and it's like it's trying to show the warmth between Ellen and Thomas, and it shows the warm relationships. But when he goes to work and finds out he's got to go to this castle, the colours then become bleak, still in colour, but slightly bleaker and like not so vibrant, more sort of, like a dull colour. And then when we get to meet Count Orlok, it then goes back to the blues and the blacks and the whites. It's amazing. Absolutely master of cinema. It's incredible. Guys, go and check out some other channels for me. Check out Horror Hands, the Horror Geek Man review film, RS Design, Pizzawell, I'm Ice Lord, Cat Watches Horror Movies, Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House, and The Maniac. And a massive shout out to my lad. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.